I got my first interview. Hi, I'm Susan. I trained with Mainstream Careers. I got my first interview after a week of our training. I got the job. I turned it down because it doesn't suit my lifestyle. I've got a young family. I applied for other jobs and I was offered 2 other interviews. I'm now a project manager, managing a project that is called GDPR, which is the General Data Protection Regulation. And I enjoy it. I wouldn't have done it if it wasn't for Mainstream Careers. They gave me support every time I have a question. I know there is a number to call and I always get help.
Every single person is driven by passion. You wake us up in the morning to take the call to the candidates, to support them to get to where they like to be.
Trainers are very insightful. They know what they're talking about.
They teach you what you expect to prepare you to also function effectively when you get to the industry. You want to get into IT industry, come to MS Careers.
So if I was looking to become a business analyst, Mainstream Careers should be your one-stop training provider that should use. Excellence is the best that covers what you're going to get.
It wasn't that long to get a job. I got 3 job offers. I had interview on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. I got offered Wheeler. Obviously, I'll tell you the one which best suited me. Irrespective of what your background is, we specialize in giving you training and work experience for you to fully understand how all this works before you can then go seek employment for yourself. In addition to that, we also provide support to you in terms of CV writing, interview preparation, and the job mentorship. We mentor you when you start your first job as well.
Hiya. Hey, brilliant. Good evening, everyone. I see if you're on Instagram. I'd like to first of all thank you for joining. And can I now request you please jump on WebEx? You're going to have probably a better learning experience on WebEx, so please jump on WebEx if you're on Instagram. I'll leave Instagram on for a little bit, then we turn it off. But we believe WebEx will give you a better learning experience. So please see if you could join us on WebEx instead. Okay, I'll put this over here. Okay, perfect. I'd like to once more thank everyone for joining. I'm just putting my video on now. There I am. Thank you for joining. I see so many people are still joining, but I tell you what, because we've got very limited time, we have to kick off immediately. Apologies for the beliefs as people join. Okay, brilliant. Someone's asking me for WebEx code. Once you register, we come to you. Again, I'd like to appreciate you all for turning up today. From what I'm told, there are people from the UK, Nigeria, the United States of America, Ireland, the US, Canada, I was told Mozambique, Ghana, Luxembourg. So I want to thank you all for taking time to participate and
Hi, I'm so sorry, but there is I don't know if you can hear me. There's a persistent beep for everyone hearing you.
Yeah, I think it's people who are joining on. Yeah, people who join. Apologies. It should die down in a few minutes. So just bear with them.
Is there a way we can mute it from our side?
No, you can't. I think it's a WebEx functionality to make you aware of when people are joining or leaving your call. Apologies. It should be off in about a couple of minutes. Okay. So thank you all for joining. Really grateful that you could join today. And we've decided to do this. It's a bit of a difficult time for everyone in the world today. So as IT professionals, what can we do to support people in our world, people in the network, people in the industry, people that want to get into the experience.
You're racist, man.
This is sort of what we came up with. Once again, those of you on Instagram, please jump on WebEx. WebEx shall be ended shortly. Sorry, jump on WebEx. Instagram shall be ended shortly. Okay. So it's going to be a series starting from today, and then we'll continue next Tuesday. And for 4 Tuesdays, it's going to be different information being shared. I'm conscious of the fact that people on the call are different experience levels, which is great. So we'll do our best to accommodate in our everyone along. It will be interactive, so please share your experiences when you're requested to do so, and we should have a great time. Without further ado, my name is Fred, and I'm the lead coach at Mainstream Careers Ltd. Mainstream Careers is an IT training and coaching company, and we've been around for 8 years. Next February will be 9, so 8.5, and quite a few people have been through us, and we've been privileged to support people to break into the IT industry. And that's me, Ben. I'm the lead coach. So we're talking Agile today. Therefore, I've put a few Agile qualifications against my name on there, so I declined this. So professional Scrum Master, certified Scrum Master, product owner, and Scrum practitioner. Okay. So yeah, I'm leading Mainstream Careers, and our experience lies in providing training and coaching around some of these courses on the screen right now. Business analysis, training and work experience, Agile, Scrum, cybersecurity, robotics, Scale Scrum, project management, and the diploma package. Here's what I want us to cover today until 7 o'clock. If you have the workbook, I think it might be good to make reference to it. After the class, I will give you some homework for you to complete, and then next week we'll review what you've done as well. It's not going to be for you to listen and go away. We really want you to get it, to learn something from it. So here's the plan that I'll have for today, and I've done number 1 already, so we might as well go straight into it.
Hi, sorry to interrupt again, but apparently you should be able to mute the beep from your side. So someone has said that if you mute participants under the preferences settings, that might actually help, because it really is quite bad.
Okay. I'm trying that, but I don't believe so. I can mute people, but it doesn't mean that the blips will. So let me say mute all. So hopefully that goes away. Apologies. I will share my screen again. Apologies for that, guys. Perfect. So this is a scenario that we'll be basing our teaching on today. Now, those of you on Instagram, I really want you to get on WebEx now. We're going to end Instagram 1 so that we can focus on WebEx. It's still being recorded, so it can be shared with you afterwards if you can't get WebEx. But once you register for the event, the invitation will be sent to you, to your email. Thank you. So, this is the scenario that we'll base our lecture on today. And like I said, it's going to be really interactive. Hopefully you received this via email. It's around a restaurant that is local to where I live, Northampton, and they've been around for several years. And the meals they create is for quite a few people, European, African, Asian, etc. But due to the lockdown, no one is going out to the restaurant now. No business for them. So now they're quickly thinking, what can we do to get some business in? So they've now decided to include the place an order and get delivered home functionality on their website. They've approached us to say, can you pick this for us? And the answer is, yes, we can. So now we're going to talk about it. How do we go about this, right? From my perspective, this definitely sounds like a project. but how do we do it is the question. So if we brainstorm together, we can't finish it tonight, but see how far we can get in seeing how to solve this problem for them, and whatever we do for them, the same thing we can do for any other organization out there with a similar issue as well. Okay, so I'm going to pause there, and I'd like to hear someone's voice, maybe one or two persons, to help us share on what their idea is on a project. I've said that this is a project, what these people want us to do, but looking to get like proper definition of what a project is from someone. If there's someone on the call who's happy to
Right.
mute.
Just to interrupt for a second, if you go into edit and preferences and then participants, is it there that you can control whether you hear a sound or not? Because it's got when a meeting, because this sound is irritating everybody.
Yeah.
Was that edit? Did you say?
Edit then preferences.
Sleep.
And then you get two things.
Apologies.
This is mute on entry. You need to.
Everyone's in mute on entry. Yeah.
That's not fair.
I think I got it now. Apologies, guys. Sincere apologies. I think it's off now.
Thanks. Sorry to interrupt.
No. That was really good. Thank you. Okay. So back to this. Now we can focus. Now, can everyone please go with me, please? Everyone, please stay tuned so that we have a great experience. Okay. So I wanted to hear from one person. What is a project? Say that this is a project, but if you were to define a project, how would you go about that? Yes, we agree this is a project, but if someone wanted to write something down, some of you on the call are experienced. Can we hear from you, please? What is a project so that we can move on to the next sort of slide?
I would say the basics is that it's got a start date and an end date, because it's not one of your business as usual activities. What we're doing here, it's going to be a one-off. You've implemented it and then you move on to the next thing.
Absolutely, 100% agree with you. So for this restaurant we're working for now, they're in the business of cooking food, selling it, making profit of that. But now they want to introduce something additional, something that is temporal, something that is not their usual activities. And therefore, it's a project. In this case, they want to improve the website and give people additional ability. So that's a really good one. Thank you, the person that spoke up. That's a good one. So what we said here is that a project is an endeavor that is aimed at achieving specific objectives within a defined time frame on using limited resources type thing. So improving the functionality of this website is a project. Preparing your organization for Brexit is a project. If you had a couple of systems to merge into one integration, that's a project. If you had an old phone or you want to move your data to a new phone, data migration is a project. Fixing dinner tonight is a project. All right? So we're giving this background information because we know some people are on the call who don't necessarily have IT experience, so that's why we're breaking it down. If you do have experience, bear with us. We are coming. We just want to give people really good background before we get into it. And logically speaking, a few steps need to be followed to deliver on a project. Namely, we need to define what we want, essentially the requirements. What do we need to include in building what we want to build? Then we need to make a design of the product and then actually build it. When it's been built, then we need to test it to make sure it works as expected. Then it will be implemented for us to go live. Yeah, I can increase the volume as well. I want you to make a note of these steps if you're not familiar with them, because they are essential. And all the projects you go through somehow will have to go through these steps. Somehow. even fixing your dinner, you'll have to go through these steps. If you have any questions, please put them up on the chat forum, chat box, and my colleagues will be responding to you, and I will get around to them at some point as well. Okay, so this is where it gets really interactive, because in delivering of projects, there are a lot of you on the call, we know this, there are generally two ways you could do it. One is more traditional, also known as waterfall, and the other is a lot more flexible and modern, it's known as agile. So guys, remember to stay on mute, please. So if it was agile that we're using to deliver this product for this restaurant, it will be sort of a big bang approach, if you like. It will be a big bang approach. What that means is that we will ask them for 6 months, 12 months for us to go away, do all the analysis for that new functionality, build all of it, test all of it, then we'll deliver it to them. Now, I don't know if it's going to work or not until we test, right? So that's waterfall. But if it was agile, the other guy there, we'll have to break down the product into smaller chunks and build a small chunk, test it. If it works, we deliver it to them so that they will continue their business, carry on making money, carry on serving the society. And then we go to the next chunk of the functionality. So it's built in increments, as it were. We'll end up having that big functionality, but we'll build it in small chunks, go through the entire cycle of the project, as on your screen now, and then go to the next function chunk of the functionality. So that's a high-level overview there for you, Agile Waterfall. So I'm going to pause there and seek to hear from people on the call. In terms of this particular project we're talking about, what do you think should be the best approach to use and why? As you speak, I'll record it, I'll write it down. And just to make you aware, this call is recorded today as well for your information. But as you tell me right now, what should we use and why?
Hello, Fred. This is Babs. Can you hear me?
Yes, loud and clear.
Yeah, good. How's it going? Yeah. The one I believe should be the one to use will be the Agile method, because it's quick and you can finish off the project quite quickly, because with this particular project they will need to be able to get it up and running quite quickly and to get it running before the lockdown is removed, which is what they're trying to take, from my understanding.
Okay, yeah, thank you so much. I think that is fantastic. So, because I personally, I don't think the lockdown will be forever. We will have to be let to go out sometime. So, but whilst the lockdown is on, they need to work quickly and deliver something. And Babs is saying that Agile will offer quicker delivery. I 100% agree with you. Thank you. Can we get more in support of Agile or Waterfall?
Well, hello, Fred. Yeah, what I'm going to say is this. Like somebody just dropped on the chat message, mentioned the MVP, the minimum viable product. The point is this. What we're expected to do is very specific. So I'm wondering, what will be the MVP iteration? It seems like it's just one specific product that we're delivering. So I think Waterfall might just kill it. Like we just do this specific thing, give to them, because it's just one particular thing we're expected to do.
Okay. So you're suggesting we use Waterfall because it is such a small delivery, is it?
Yes, exactly.
Okay, no smaller chunks. Okay, we'll come to that. Thank you very much. Any more thoughts?
Yeah, hi, Fred.
Hi.
This is Mazi. How are you? Good evening.
I'm great. Good to hear from you, sir.
All right, so makes sense. What we should look at first of all is the background.
Can we go on mute if we're not speaking, please?
Mute everybody.
Go on mute, please. Bushi.
Okay, I'll put them on mute as well. That's fine. Please carry on, Mazi.
Right, so the smaller chunk is the best way. The reason I'm saying this is because you can start immediately to show evidence of how good the app or the website is without having a full product. So at every iteration of every step or at the end of every sprint, for example, there will be something already working for the customer. So a typical example would be, you can start with introducing your online menu before the whole food is even ready. What that does is that at that particular iteration, it goes out to the customers and they've already seen evidence of the products.
Okay, it's perfect. Thank you. Can we get one or two more, please?
Yeah, this is Chris. Can I? Hello?
Please go ahead.
Okay, thank you, Fred. For me, I think Agile is better because one, we have some small chunk of the product being given to the customers. Then they are able to evaluate it. Then we can get good customer feedback. Based on that, we know the next step we're taking, so that we'll work along with what the customer needs. We'll focus on what the customer needs. So I think Agile is better because we just keep rolling chunks of products one after the other. Eventually,
that. Okay, perfect.
Dennis, can Dennis participate in this one?
Yeah, Dennis. Finally, Dennis.
Okay, I'll go with the waterfall because there's no piecemeal thing. Oh no! Can you tell them to mute their?
Apologies. I know it's a little bit frustrating. Apologies, Dennis and everyone. Guys, please let's stay on mute, please, until we speak.
So the customers looking at the website and looking at the menu.
Yourself again. I've had to mute everyone. Apologies.
Yes, from what I see with this project, the customers having access to the website, looking at the menu, like somebody suggested earlier, it avails them nothing because they cannot make orders, they cannot do anything.
Okay, perfect. Thank you for speaking, Dennis. I don't know yet. We'll find out shortly. But I really like what you guys have said. You've spoken from experience. You've given really good touch to it. But we will find out shortly. We don't know. You may be right, Dennis. We don't know. We'll find out shortly. So there you go. Agile waterfall, and the line of thoughts that people gave us on this call are brilliant. So in deciding between Agile and waterfall, be thinking along the lines that they've thought about. The other key thing, which I think was just mentioned, is can you really have frequent deliveries? We'll find out. Okay, perfect. So let's think about this, right? You're giving the customers ability to place an order online and have their food delivered. Now, remember the customer, the restaurant we're talking about, they provide Nigerian dishes, South African dishes, Greek, English, Indian, and Thai. So there seems to be quite a bit going on there, really. Dennis and the other gentleman that spoke, seem to be quite a bit going on there. It's looking to me like we may be able to cut them down into smaller chunks. We may give several abilities to pay: cash, credit card, debit card, PayPal, Stripe, etc. We may think about doing this in chunks, I suppose, big bang, so that it's quicker, and then so that in a week or 2 weeks' time, we'll go out to the market and start saying, right, guys, you can now order your best meals and it'll be delivered contactlessly to your home. Maybe we could do that, and I'm thinking we might be able to do that. It's a small delivery, but we could still probably further break it down. Okay, so as a group, let's assume we're going with Agile, and we do that. Now, the next thing for us to is, okay, my system decides to go up. The next thing for us to consider is what do we need to put in place for us to take off with this project? I'm looking for 4 things. People can tell me 4 things to take off with this project. I will write them down. Just 4 things to keep in place.
Clearly defined tasks and objectives.
Okay. What do you mean by that?
You need to know exactly what it is you want to achieve.
Like the requirements?
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Requirements.
Okay, so let's call it, in our world here, let's call it product backlog. So thank you for that, to that person that spoke up. Guys, what they're saying is that if you want to fix dinner tonight, you have to first of all make a list of what you need to be able to fix your dinner. So product backlog essentially is a list, a shopping list really. We want to give customers the ability to order online and get the meals delivered in their homes. But what are the list of things that we need to be able to achieve that, the requirements? We call it product backlog. Thank you. Anything else?
Hello. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Please go ahead.
Hi, Fred. The source here. Can we say stakeholders? Who our stakeholders are?
Yeah, let's say the team. Yeah. So both the Scrum team, the Agile team, Scrum team, and the stakeholders. That's good. Yeah. Two more, guys. I think these are really cool and essential.
What about budget?
Hi.
Budget.
Okay. Exactly. Good one. Yeah. But let's assume there's money. Let's exist. Yeah.
How about the time frame for delivery?
Time frame.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. That's fine. Yeah.
Can we consider deliverables? Is it the same thing?
Yeah.
That's requirements.
Let's put all of that. Yeah. Project artifacts, and then finally, can we think about maybe
the Scrum Master?
Yeah, that's part of the team. Can we think about maybe the environment, enabling environment? Someone needs to provide training to them. Someone needs to, tell them how to do this thing actually in an agile way. We need to think about bringing the team together because agile works best when people are together in one place, right? So we'll think about some of these. There's so many things that will be required, but we're picking up on the ones we consider to be most essential. Now, let's start with the first one there, the product backlog. That's really where we're going today, the product backlog. Product backlog really is your shopping list, as I mentioned earlier, the list of requirements. You want to fix pasta tonight. What do you need to be able to fix your pasta? You probably need the pasta itself. Not probably. You definitely need pasta. You probably need your tomatoes. If you eat fish, you need fish or whatever protein you want, spices, etc. You put all of these together in a list before you actually start building your pasta. That is what a product backlog is, right? So, but here is the deal. Here is the deal. When you go out shopping for your pasta meal, Tesco's or you go to ShopRite, or you go to Sainsbury's, wherever you go, don't go with a list. You're very likely going to forget some things that you need. You more than likely will be forgetting some things that you require to fix your dinner because you don't have a list. That is a given. Everyone knows that. Secondly, sometimes you go with a list, but you've not gone with a properly written list. Now I'm gonna. People are not going to me, so I'm gonna put people. Guys, it's probably easier if you put yourself on mute by yourselves so that my flow doesn't get distracted. Thank you. Okay, cool. So sometimes you go shopping with a list, but the list is not properly made. You're about driving off, you've got your car key in your hand already, and you scribble a very quick shopping list, standing in the kitchen. And then you forget that you needed toiletries because you're not standing in the toilet. You forget that you needed some things for the lounge. You've made a list, all right, but it's an incomplete list. So you go shopping with that incomplete list, and then you come back home and you remember, oh, I've forgotten something. And you can't go back because there's a long queue at the shops these days, right? So it's probably best if we made a full, complete, and reliable list before heading out to shop. In the same way, in this world of agile, building a product, someone might say, let's make a list of the requirements. Let's make a list of the user stories that we require to be able to build this functionality. And you bring random people together to start brainstorming, to start throwing it here and there. You will come out of that meeting with a list, but how do we know that that list you have is complete and correct? We don't know because you've not followed a structured approach in creating that list. Do you see what I mean? So if I went to sit down with the owner of this restaurant and say, right, you tell me, what do you want us to build as part of this online booking functionality? He'll tell me some things, but trust me, he's going to miss out some things because I'm pulling the requirements from them, but not in a structured manner, right? And this is where people miss it. Now, irrespective of your level of experience on this call, I think this slide and the next few slides is going to be of great benefit to you, right? You have to have a structure. If you're making a list, a shopping list at home, the best way, one of the ways to do it is to first of all think about all the rooms in the house. As you go through each room in your mind, you're thinking, what do I need for that room? You write it down. What do I need for that room? You write it down. What do I need for that room? You write it down. Or you could go through your day's journey and use that to make a list. What do I do when I wake up? I have a wash, I feed my body, then I travel. Okay. For having a wash, what do I need? For feeding my body, what do I need? For traveling, what do I need? It could be that. These are structured approaches, which can also be transferred into our world of Agile. In the screen, on the slide that I have up right now, you've got the structured approach and the unstructured approach, right? So the unstructured one is where people set up a meeting or set up a workshop and they go there, stand in front of stakeholders and they say, right, you tell me what requirements do you have for this product. That will not work. That will not work. So today we're going to look at one of the structured approaches that you could use to pull user stories or requirements or product backlog from sources, and this a structured approach will help ensure that what you have is complete, and then it will lead to a good product at the end of the day. All right, excuse me. So if it's a structured product approach, more likely that nothing will be missed. It will show that you're thoughtful, right? There'll be some trust, and of course it will help for better planning as well. All right. So let's go straight into it, and just before we do that, just to announce that these meetings will happen every Tuesday in the month of May. So next Tuesday we're here again, and we will be really glad and grateful if you can invite all your friends all around the world to join these meetings. I think there's something for them to gain in these meetings as well. So please invite them. And it's been recorded. The recording will be sent out to you after the call, so you have it. You can share with your friends as well. Absolutely fine, no problem at all. Okay, so structured approach number one we want to look at today is story mapping. Story mapping, right? Now this is an approach that we have used over the years in our various organizations, and it's worked really, really well. In number one, identifying what you could claim to be a full list of the features, the user stories, etc., that is required to build a particular product. It works really nicely, and it's not the most difficult either. So what the client has said to us is that they wanted the functionality that would allow customers to book online, to order food online, and have it delivered to their home addresses. Now, I can easily refer to that as the epic, right? That is the epic of, of what we're doing, really. That is, from a business perspective, that is what they want built. And that it's quite big. From that epic, we can get quite a few features and quite a few user stories, all right? So think about that. And when you now turn up in a workshop, think about how can we achieve this epic, maybe with a customer journey. If a customer goes on a journey, what journey can customer go on for us to be able to achieve this epic, right? So we get into that time where I'll ask you to come off mute again, because I have a question for you. Let me see if it's on the next slide. Okay, perfect. So it's on the next slide. So the epic that we have here is to give customers ability to place an order for food online and have it delivered to their homes contactlessly. Think about the journey the customer will go on this website to have this done for them. We've got 3 spaces there: feature 1, feature 2, feature 3. Each of these features will represent an activity in the customer journey. Right. If you think of any, come off mute and tell me what it is, so I can write it down. A customer that wants to go on their website, place an order for food for it to be delivered. What do you think the top 3 features will be for that customer going on that journey?
View menu. View menu.
Like that. View menu, okay.
Price of the food.
Payment plan.
Accessibility.
Registration page.
Payment
New options.
check out here. So search meal, so that's menu, etc. that you're talking about. We need one more.
Add food to basket or to shopping cart.
Let's put that part of checkout.
Accessibility.
Price, payment.
Registration page.
Ability to make the payment online.
Yeah, checkout.
Registration
I
page.
suggest order.
Guys, let's think about it logically, right? So you go to a restaurant, let's say KFC.
Registration page.
Place order.
Registration page.
You have to log in. You need
to select the
log in.
you want.
Website. The one needs to be able to have access to the website.
You're right, yes. They need to have access to the website. They need to be able to, if they don't register, they can't, yeah. But we need to pull it up a little bit because we're talking about the journey and we've got only 3 spaces.
Home page.
Right? So,
home page.
That's fine. So we've got it. We'll say search for meals, search the meals. Then when you see that, oh, I feel like a pasta tonight, that looks good to me. What do you do now? You review that meal. You look at photos. You can select the meal. You can look at customer reviews, etc. Once you're happy, add that to cart, check out, boom, pay, right? So 3 high level there. Now, we are doing well. We have the Epic, which is to order food online. We have that already, brilliant. Next step down, we've got our features. These 3 here are our features. From the customer's perspective, these have been written based on the customer journey. Search meals, review meals, checkout is from the customer's perspective. Epic is from the business perspective, enable customers to place order online, right? So we're doing well. Next step down is now for us to now break down each of these features. Yeah,
the quantity of being ordered, it has to be in place.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, and then we can then have that nicely under one of these. There's so many things that can come in, but pull it up a little bit so that we can have. We've got limited space on there, just three slots. So now the next thing in that workshop, in that meeting that you're having with your stakeholders, whoever it is from that restaurant, is to now start thinking, what is it that we're looking to happen as part of each of these? When customer is searching for meals, what exactly happens? What would they want to be able to do? What is it that we want the customer to be able to do as part of searching?
I would have thought that one of the things the customer would want to do would be to review the meals at this point. So I don't see why the meal review should be a high level feature. I think it should be one of the activities in search meals. And the second high level feature I would have thought would be to actually make an order. So if it's following the customer journey, I would have thought that the second feature will be so the customer being able to select the meals from the search and choose the quantity of the selected meals. That, in my own opinion, that will be the 3 high level.
Sure. Apologies. The gentleman that was speaking, please come off mute and carry on speaking. I had to mute everyone because there's a baby crying in the background. No, definitely. It's down to what you agree with your group that you're workshopping with, right? Now, when we start breaking down such meals into smaller chunks, we may find that there's a lot more that we can put in there, much more than reviewed meals. It could be because in such a, remember this restaurant, they serve so many nationalities. So there may be quite a bit for us to do there. And then adding food to the basket or deciding the meal to buy, we may safely be able to put that on that checkout, really. Let's see. If it doesn't work, then we'll come back and redo it. That's the beauty of Agile. Agile is flexible. It's quite iterative. It's not too prescriptive. You try it. If it don't work, can you not hear me? You should be able to hear me. If it doesn't work, then you try it again. That's the beauty of Agile. It's not set in stone. Okay. So you come onto this website to search for a meal, right? What are the things that you think you might want to be able to do on there in searching for a meal? If someone can think.
Hey, Fred. Availability. What you just said. They have food from different nationalities, so you might want to select whether it's what you want, whether it's fish and chips you want.
Okay, so filter.
Yeah.
Now, guys, watch this. Apan has spoken from a business perspective, right? It then becomes your job as a professional who is eliciting the requirements, as it were, the BA or a product owner, whoever you are, to then help structure what they actually want from a system perspective, right? So you should write it from the perspective of the customer sat in front of the laptop and trying to search for meals. What is it that they will be able to do? Number one, filter by type. So you spoke about type of nationality or type of meal they're looking for. So that ability is definitely required. Thank you. Any more?
You could filter by reviews, for customer reviews, to see what the ratings are for different types of meals.
Sorry, Abigail, say that again.
You could filter by the ratings on the meals to see what the previous customer reviews were.
Definitely. Rating, definitely. And think about it, these are literally things that we actually do when we're trying to buy a meal, right? Filter by rating. Yeah, anything else that we could do?
Search button.
Yeah, but what are you searching for? Yeah, you're right.
The ability to type what you want to buy. So if you want, say, curry, you should be able to type it and it should bring up in the search. So you don't necessarily have to filter. You can type in the search button, which is, you know what you want, just type on it and boom, go straight.
Yeah, good. And some people base their purchases on price, right? So we might sort of think about that. How about sorting by price? Some people might go, you know what, my budget for the day, I've kind of used it up. I only have, £10 left for the day, so I can't buy anything more than £10. So why not give them that ability?
Having some categories for starters, desserts, and main course.
Yeah. So
veteran.
Ability to customize. Ability to customize.
Customize what?
You might be able to edit a meal, just in case you have something you don't usually take, maybe an allergy to something, an ingredient or something.
Right.
Toppings.
Dietary options.
Dietary options, yeah, I like that. Yeah.
Veteran speaking, like building the customer's persona.
So,
my customer's persona, to know the kind of food they did, everything.
So you can sort, good. So you can sort like dietary options as well. Some people don't eat certain things, right? So that's good. So many things you could have there. So many things.
Allergies as well. Allergies.
Yeah.
Allergies,
yeah, that's right. Yeah. So all
if it's returning customer, perhaps a favorite list.
Do you see how
this will fall under dietary requirements?
Yeah. Do you see how, because we've put it in categories, as it were, it's structuring our thinking pattern. Do you see that? Do you see what's going on here? It's helping us think not properly, but holistically. So from a search meal perspective, that's all we're thinking now. Then we go on to meals review. When I'm reviewing my meals, what exactly am I thinking of? What am I looking for? What do I want to be able to do? So this really helps you to structure how you elicit your requirements or your user stories from your clients. Really good. It demonstrates that you've got lots of structure. It gives you some trust. They then have some trust in what you've done. I've seen people in the past, they've written user stories, really good, well written, but the business, we're not too sure. We're not too sure how to judge if this was everything or if this is not everything. We couldn't tell because there was no structure around eliciting them, around putting them together. So this is one of the really good ways that we could go about putting this together, and then it would demonstrate to them that, yes, we've given some thought to it. We know what we're doing. You can rely on what we've done. And as a matter of fact, this is all that you require. They'll be pleased. They will accept it. The trust level will grow. And yeah, so it should be all right. So let's very quickly finish it off. We've got the next one, which is meals review. When you're reviewing the meals, what functionality would you want the system to give you ability to complete? What would you be looking at for here?
Hi, Fred. So I would quickly want to be able to select the options that I want. I'd want to see a sidebar of what it is I've selected and have the ability to either increase or decrease the quantity.
Okay, view footage. View basket. What do you mean?
I think the first thing you want to see is a picture of what you've selected.
Yes, you want to see the photos of the types of
I want to see photos. Yeah, good. Okay. What else?
View the ingredients.
Yes. Yeah. Sure. Yeah. Yeah.
A brief narrative of what the food is. A brief narrative of what the food is.
Edit your selection.
What was that?
Edit your selection.
Yeah, sure. Well, you've not selected, have you? You've not selected.
Recipes.
Yeah, okay. How about, do you want to know what other people think about that food? The people that have actually had it, yeah? Review, is it feedback is called? Reviews. You know what I mean.
Feedback. Customer
reviews.
To review reviews, perhaps.
Okay, last one. More. We can even leave that. Let's go to checkout, right? So checkout, what do we do as part of checkout? Is this where we add to basket and then review the basket?
Add to basket, view items in basket.
Payment gateway.
Yeah. Pay.
Has to be delivered to.
Price.
Like quantity.
Payment type.
Delivery details, yeah. Or sometimes when you want when they deliver the food, price of them don't knock my door. Just give me a call. Yeah. Someone said discount. Thank you, Funky. That's good. Discount. You could think about
payment type.
Total price of item or list of items.
Yeah. Payment method. And then at this point, it should be able to review as well, right? It should be able to add or take out, right?
Delete from the quantity you have selected.
Yeah, review payments. So many things can go in here. But I suppose my point is, do you see how the structure is helping us brainstorm and come up with really good requirements for what we are building? It's a lot more structured. I couldn't overemphasize the value of adding structure to the work that we do as professionals. You see, when that is done that way, the trust level goes up. It doesn't really take a lot to get trust in the workplace. You just need to add structure to what you do. You might end up getting the same results, but at least because you've added structure, that connection with other people, that trust from others in the organization really goes up, right? So this is a really good way of going about putting your user stories together. And as a recap, when you have your user stories, that is then what we will use to build that functionality. I will quickly put this up now before we do the next exercise. I'll do this as full screen and show you something. I don't know if some of you can already see the user stories here. I can see them, but what I was going to say before we do that is, I don't know if I can annotate here. Actually, can Look what I'm going to do. Look what I'm going to do. Just to demonstrate that this definitely can be an agile delivery. Look what I'm going to do. We've got various features, if you like, functionalities under this feature. We've got some here, we've got some here. We could decide to say filter by type, filter by rating are really important. Therefore, they will be part of the first delivery, which will happen in the next 2 weeks. Over here, view your photos. View ingredients is really important. And here, the top 3 are really important. In fact, everything here is important. So we take top 2 here. We take top 2 here. And then we take everything here. Well, I'll take top 4 here. What have I done? I have just selected the items that we will deliver as part of sprint 1. Remember, it's only 2 weeks we have to build this, right? We don't want to, 2 weeks is literally 10 days. In fact, it's 9 days because there's bank holiday this Friday, so it's in the UK, it's literally 9 days, right? So we don't want to give ourselves way too much work that we cannot finish, right? I think this is a nice, delivery for a 2-week period, right? A really cool delivery. And then when we finish that, we'll come back and consider what is it that we should be looking at doing next. Look at the next 2 look really cool. So we're going to take the next 2 up to there. And then if we now have a number 5, this will be our sprint 2. That's a very big pen I'm using there. If I could reduce it. All right. And then the last one forms our sprint 3. So it's really, really cool. So what I'm saying is that this is sprint 1. Now, if you're wondering what does sprint mean? Sprint is the time period within which we deliver small chunks. In the traditional world, we'll deliver the entire functionality all at once. Or because we're in the agile world, we'll decide to split them down into smaller chunks for quicker delivery, for more exposure to customer, collection of customer feedback, etc. So we break it down into smaller chunks. Each of those small chunks is called a sprint. So the first one will be our sprint 1. The second one will be our sprint 2, if I can spell it. And then obviously the last one will be our sprint 3. If we're running on a 2-weekly sprint, you see that by the end of the second week, we will have a delivery. People can start going to this customer. People can start ordering their food online. Let me make a full screen. You can start ordering your food online from them. You don't have to wait. Oh, it shouldn't have happened. You don't have to wait till the end of 6 weeks or 6 months to have something. No, end of 2 weeks, which is end of next week, we will start selling to people online. Does that make sense? I'm going to shut up now and take some questions because you may have some questions. Once we've taken 1 or 2 questions, then we will go ahead and write out some user stories from this view that you and I have just created.
Oh, hi, Fred. I've got a question. So my question is, on a normal good day, my understanding of customer journey is actually speaking to the customers, finding out what they want, find out what their pain points are and build up on that. So in this case, we're putting ourselves in the customer's shoes because we're imagining what the customers want rather than actually speaking to the customers and seeing what they would like on that website.
Perfect. That's a really good point. Again, thanks for raising that. Your understanding of customer journey is spot on, right? Is the journey the customer will take on a particular product or for a particular service. For example, there is a customer journey you went through to get on this course today, right? You saw the link, you clicked, you registered, you got an email inviting you, and then you turned up. Voila. Now, as a business, the business may provide that information to you depending on their vision, depending on how much they think they understand the customer, or depending on, sometimes you just want customers to go in a certain way, right? Depending on your vision. Other times you might be exposed to the customer themselves to get that information from them. But the scenario we've used today is where you, as the BA or product owner, whoever you are, you will work directly with the business to understand what their vision is in relation to the product that is being built. That is a scenario we've run here. All the times they will want you exposed to the customers as well. Okay?
Brilliant. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Should we take one more question before we continue?
But Fred, I have a question for you.
Yes.
So I just wanted to know, so when the sprint is a chunk of small deliverables that we'll be doing over a period of 2 weeks or 3 weeks, whatever time, okay? I want to know what is the BA role in it, because it looks like at the sprint stage, that is the more of the work of the, solution architects or of the developers. What does the BA do during that period?
That's a really good question. Sudip, thank you for asking that. Really good question. Now, should I bust your bubble yet or not? I'm thinking. Right, okay. Now, the role of a BA is the same. It's still there to complete analysis. Remember, before your solution architect, the developers build something, some analysis needs to be done on what needs to be built, right? The BA, or whatever term that person is called, will have to do it. All the user stories that we've been doing here, the BA will have to do it. All the analysis, all the support that will be provided to the technical guys, the BA will provide it. So whatever you do in your traditional world as a BA, you probably end up doing here as well. It might be called something different. The terminology used to describe them might be different. You might do them slightly differently, but you are essentially providing the same level of support. Now, just to add, because it's been recorded, just to add to this, in theory, really, in theory, Agile does not really support job titles. For example, BA. Scrum will not support that. Everyone there is called a developer. And everyone there should be able to do everything. In theory, that's not practice, in theory. But in practice, that's the answer I gave you originally. Okay, perfect. So in the little time we have left, let's see if we can get some user stories over here, right? So look at this, right? Look at this very well. The user stories are very clear. Those of you, if you're not conversant with what user stories are, you're going to learn it now. That's what the next slide is about. So can someone boldly come off mute and give us one user story from here and, articulate it very properly?
As a user?
I will write as you speak. As a
customer.
Yeah, I prepared that.
As a customer?
I prepared that. Yes.
I want to be able to filter by type of meal.
Filter meals by type, yes.
So that I am able to make a choice.
Oh, that's good. Perfect. So that I am able to make a choice. Perfect. So let me go back to the previous slide. Thank you very much, the person that spoke. The person that spoke has used this particular one I've highlighted and developed this user story here. Did you see how easily that user story then came out? Why? Because they had originally done the story mapping. You see, we take one more user story example from here.
As a customer,
yes,
I want to see the food rating from previous customers. So that I can make a choice based on the most rated food.
Okay. Based on best rated meals. Right, guys, if you're not familiar with user stories, this is how it's done. So all that will remain constant is as a, I want to, so that. As a, so in our case, the as a is a customer standard. We know that already, right? The middle bit, I want to, you get it from here. You lift it from here. Then the so that, just figure it out, right? It is that straightforward. It is that straightforward. So what I want you to do is, as a practice, I will send this to you. I'll send you the video, the recording. try and in your own time practice writing all of these out, so you're sure that you know. It could be a refresher for you, whatever it is. Do a refresher, or educate yourself using this, and bring your questions back next week, right? So do that. I'll send this to you now. But that's not the real takeaway I have for you. I have a real takeaway for you. This is the takeaway, right? Now, this will be sent to you via email, but if you want, you could take a photo as well. Take a photo of it, that's perfectly fine, but it will be sent to you via email anyway. So you're going to read this scenario on here, and then you will create a story map as we've done today, and obviously write the associated user stories as well. Write them down, document this. Next week, when we come back on Tuesday, we will start by reviewing them with our written art. I'll probably just put that up as well, and then we can compare. There is, it's no hard and fast rule to this things, but whatever you do needs to be something that you've given really good thoughts to. You need to be able to defend it. So this scenario, this is what you're working on, and you're going to be done by next Tuesday. Next Tuesday, we're back again at what time? 6 p.m. We're back at 6 p.m. and it will take us till 7. Now remember, it's a series. Next week we'll be looking at something else, still in the world of Agile, but a different topic. So please make sure you participate. Send the invitation to all your friends all around the world. Let them attend. You don't have to be a member of the MS Careers Network to attend. No, just send it to anyone. Now, the same link you used today is the same link that will be used next week. But for new people, we'd like them to register so we can contact them with things like this, send the information to them. We'll also send you an email with a link to YouTube where this will be stored, so you have it. If you could subscribe to the channel and put on the notification, leave comments, etc., so that you can receive notification when we put out the posts. Okay, we probably have time for one question. Is there any pressing question that you want us to take just before we go now? Otherwise, you've got our details out there. Yeah, go ahead.
Someone has asked within the group, how long does it take to gather the requirements before the print starts? I think that's a good one.
It is a really good question. There is no hard and fast rule to that, but as a rule, it's not a written rule. As a rule, generally, the requirements that you need for a particular sprint should really have been ready at least the sprint before, if not 2 sprints before. So for you to actually start the sprint, you should at least have enough stories, enough requirements that you're going to build during that sprint. Otherwise, what are you starting the sprint for? Right? Sprints are used to deliver something. You should have at least enough for that sprint before you actually start it. It's best to have your stories ready 2 sprints prior, where possible. If not, have it a sprint before. Hopefully, it answers that question. Okay. Thank you, sir.
No, just to follow up, if that sprint was to be the first sprint, you responded 2 sprints before, but if the sprint you're starting was to be the first sprint, how do you?
The requirement, as it were, need to be ready before you turn on that sprint. It just needs to be ready, because remember, start of a sprint, the first event that you carry out is a sprint planning meeting. You definitely need those further backlog items for that. If you don't have them, there's no need having that meeting. So I'll have them before that first sprint starts. Okay?
Hope you're not touching my stuff.
Fantastic. Right, listen, guys, I want to thank you so much for joining me today and staying on as well.
Leave it.
Guys, can we stay until we finish? Thank you. I want to thank you for joining me and staying on until the end. As we're back again next week, and we look at the different areas still in the world of Agile. So please do well to attend. It's only an hour every Tuesday in the month of May. And remember to invite your friends. If you've got any questions before next Tuesday, you want to have a chat, our details are on the screen. Go to the website, go on Instagram, you can find us there, or give us a phone call. But yeah, thank you very much, and see you next Tuesday. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye, Fred. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye. Thank you.
Thank you.